Hi there. It's May the 10th, and we continue our progress through the Good News of John, and we're in chapter 6, going from verses 22 to 42. At the beginning of our reading, there's a bit of a hide and seek going on. It's quite an amusing thing, really. Remember that Jesus had crossed over the lake by walking to the disciples in the boat. The crowds had seen the disciples go, but Jesus had stayed on one side of the lake. So they couldn't work out how Jesus had managed to get away. They thought he must still be there, and other boats are coming looking for him. But they finally, after this hide and seek, decide Jesus isn't there, and they go looking for him somewhere else. So they cross over the lake to where Jesus is. And Jesus, when he greets them, he's somewhat straight with them, and he says that the only reason you're looking for me is because you want me to provide more food. We may not have picked this up earlier, but in the reading before this, we see that Jesus actually slipped away from the crowds because he saw that they were intent on making him a political leader. They wanted to make him king. So Jesus is aware that the crowds are really out after him for what they can get out of him. And he said, actually, what you should be looking for is not perishable food, not the bread, but actually you should be looking for the bread of heaven. And then this interaction goes on about what is the bread of heaven. After all, Moses gave manna in the desert to the children of Israel. But Jesus says, actually, it wasn't Moses who gave the manna. It was my Father in heaven who gave you the manna. And he is giving you bread from heaven. Well, what is the bread from heaven, they're saying? Jesus says, it's me. I am the bread of life. An amazing statement. He says that comparing to the manna that was providing for the people of Israel, he points to himself and says, I am the bread of life. And so we see that Jesus is very clear about the relationship that he has with people. And he also says that if I'm lifted up, I will draw all men to me and I will raise them up in the last day. Again, Jesus speaking about being the one who brings life to the dead. He's talking about the resurrection. He's talking about the restoration of all things. He is linking himself to the one that the Jews call the Mechayer Metim, the one who raises from the dead. So Jesus is very clear that he is the one. It's faith in him that will bring this everlasting life. At the end of our reading, the Jewish leaders are upset by Jesus pointing to himself as being someone, and they say, wait a minute, this is Jesus. He's Joseph's son. How can he be the one that's been promised to us? And they take offense at him. Bread is something that fills a hole, fills a gap in us. Physical bread is something we eat to fill our hunger, but Jesus is talking about bread, his life, that will fill the gap inside us. It will fill the aching chasm, the aching void within every person. This is why he refers to himself as being the bread of life. And he is still offering that bread of life to us today. So let's feed on him. Let's continue to receive the great things that he has to bring us today. Have a very good May the 10th.